Coming in just above 1,500 pounds, we've got a Palomino Bronco 1250 short box here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan. This is designed for a 6.5-foot short bed. It could, in theory, work legitimately on a half-ton pickup. What you really need to do when you're putting one of these things on a half-ton pickup is you have to compare the 1,500-pound dry weight plus cargo you intend to put in it against the payload rating of your truck. So if you have like a 1,600-pound payload, you're going to be really pushing it. But if you've got like a 3/4-ton truck with a heavier payload, you're going to be aces on this all day long. And as we go through this thing, you're going to see that, there's a couple little like scuffs on a cabinet. It's a 2004 model. And it's funny because when you hear 2004, it doesn't sound old, does it? But in camping terms, this is 15 years old, guys. So when you look at it through the lens of time, when you look at it, you say, this is 15 years old, and that ain't bad. Like, if you saw a 15-year-old car, you would expect there'd be a ding on a bumper. You would expect maybe a little scuff on some upholstery. That's the kind of same things that we're looking at here. There's no big, major, scary stuff. Like, you can see a little bit of staining on some of the, we'll call it canvas material, even though it's not technically canvas anymore. A week into scrubbing will remove a chunk of that. It's probably never going to be fully gone. But the fact is, the roof is in solid shape. The camper was stored under a cover. It has had at least two two previous owners. That's one thing with RVs, is that there's no Carfax for camping, so I'm playing CSI for campers. But the folks that traded it in, they bought it when it was only 2 years old, so they used it for the better part of 13 years, and they did use it. So you're going to see a little signature of that, but they didn't beat it up. There's a difference between used and abused. And I'm going to try to explain a little bit of what I mean by that. Like, for instance, right here, they had like a little command strip on the wall, and it peeled a little bit of that contact paper when they removed it. And I would prefer it if that hadn't happened. But frankly, guys, at the end of the day, it's really not a big deal, and it's not going to stop you from camping. So we've got our, kind of horseshoe-style dining arrangement right here, which, naturally folds down into a sleeping area. You got your table there. I left the table out of the way just so I could navigate the camper a little bit easier while I'm, camera working this thing. The bed does lift up. There is storage below it. Not much, obviously, but enough for something maybe pillow-sized. This camper does not have an air conditioner, but it does have the max air vent fan above the bed right here, so that you have the extra airflow really where you want and need it most. And that is a 60 by 80 residential size queen bed. Now, being a what I call pop-top style truck camper with the crank-up roof, you don't have a great amount of overhead cabinetry. This is really all you can have, because once this thing cranks down, it would crush any normal overhead cabinets. So they put what they could where they could. Pretty common, typical kitchen arrangement. This camper does not have a gray tank, mind you. That's just one of those things that goes along with smaller truck campers like this. We've got our furnace here, stovetop here, water pump, refrigerator, all that stuff. Everything appears to be in good working order. So, like I said, it's a little bit older, but it's not junk. It's just less expensive. And that's really, I think, what this one's for. If what you're looking for is a less expensive way to spend a weekend camping, maybe you want to throw a little flat bottom boat behind it, you want to do some hunting camps, some fishing stuff, some national parks where you go way off the grid, that's who I think is really going to appeal to this one here. And I do like that big closet right there, right when you walk in the door. Back outside here, I'm greeted with a giant power pole, so I can't really get a good shot of that front corner like I'd like, but that's why we're walking around it. As I mentioned inside, the camper has been stored under a cover for its last 13 years. The roof could certainly use a cleaning, but you can easily see that the decals aren't peeled and faded, so it hasn't been like sun-baked and fried, with all kinds of harsh, nasty weathering. I don't think it was inside undercover, it's outside undercover, but the fact is, it has never really had a significant amount of direct, rough weather exposure. It is a manual crank top. That being said, you're only cranking it like 12 inches, and I can do it with one arm, even with my computer guy chicken arms. So if I can, I'm pretty sure you can too. I'm not worried about that whatsoever. Now, they traded this in, not for a different truck camper. They're actually getting out of the truck camper segment. So some of the brackets and hardware that are associated with getting this thing hooked up to a truck appear to be here. It looks like a full turnbuckle kit. That being said, Full disclaimer, and I will always shoot you guys straight. I'm never going to pretend to know more than I know about something. I am not a truck camper wizard. I know enough to get myself in trouble on these. I know enough to answer basic questions. What it looks like to me is that there is the equipment there to get this thing hooked up to a truck. That being said, I'm thinking that. I'm not knowing that. And obviously, anytime there's dollars and cents involved, I prefer to tell people things that I know, not things that I think. So, my recommendation, if you like what you see here, review it in person, and what we should do is really have our parts guy take a look at the hardware that's included here compared to your specific vehicle, because really that's the hiccup with truck campers, is it's not so much about the camper as the truck. And the hardware that you use to attach these things to a truck can vary wildly based on vehicle to vehicle. So biggest recommendation there is visit us, let our parts guy take a look at your vehicle and see what we need to get you properly hooked up for safety reasons. And again, you can see that there's no like big peels or scars or anything. It looks like maybe he bumped something down here and he put some slide seam tape patches over the top of that. And while slide seam tape is not pretty, it is amazingly effective stuff. If slide seam tape was prettier, they could frankly lash entire RV seams together with that stuff and it would probably be built better. But because it's not pretty, they don't really use it a whole lot. But if you're looking for a low dollar, amazingly effective fix, that stuff is the way to go. But understand, once you put it in place, you better be ready to leave it there because it ain't coming off. So, any other questions, which I'm sure you're going to have some, definitely give our guys here in sales a call. 800-256-5196. And we can do financing, we can do trades, we can do just about anything you need, guys. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.